In today's video, I am going to be breaking down some of the best baseline inbounds plays that you can run with a middle school team. Some of these are going to be very simple, some might be a bit more advanced depending on your level of team that you can actually use and be successful with. So let's get down, let's check these out. We're going to be running different plays for, of course, zones as well as man. So first is going to be a play that you can use against a man-to-man defense. And usually how teams, or at least kids, will set up a man-to-man on a baseline inbounds play is by having pretty much every single one of their defenders in a line between the net and their man. The reason why they do this is because, of course, we always as coaches teach them, hey, always stay between the net and your man, and when that happens, we can actually take really good advantage of this. So let's say, for example, player 2 is a three-point shooter. We can have player 2 pop out to the three-point line and players 4 and 5 do an elevator style screen so that player 2's defender cannot get to him. At this time, player 3 would do the lob pass over top, and we would also have player 1, he would cut to the basket and of course be potentially open for, of course, the pass to the paint. This gives a couple of different options for your team. If player 2 is not open, he then needs to cut towards the sideline where he will then be open. So our number one option would be player 2, our number 2 option would be player 1. This can also be successfully ran against a zone defense, let's say a 2-3 zone, because now instead of this pop out and elevator screen, what I would have my team do is have player 4 set a screen on player 2 red, player 5 set a screen on player 3, and player 2 to pop out towards this free throw line extended, where he can then of course receive that pass. And player 1 would then also cut towards the basket where he may be open as well. So same play, just different outcome because, of course, a zone versus a man. Another great option that you can run against a man-to-man defense is some box inbounds plays. Now this one is super simple. We have our big guys up top. We're going to have these guys screen up top. These guys who are up top will be cutting towards the basket, and basically one of them should be open. Now if neither of them are open, let's say they're both being covered, we should then have player 1 and player 2 find an open spot. For example, player 1 going to the wing or the corner and player 2 going towards the point or the wing, where then of course player 3 should be able to get them the ball. Now this can be successfully ran against a zone as well. However, depending on the level of skill your team has, they may not be able to recognize a zone defense right away. So you as a coach will have to tell them, hey, there is a zone, in which case player 2 will set a screen on player 4, player 5 will then instead go to the corner, and player 1 will then set a screen for player 2, and I can almost guarantee you player 5's attention at younger levels will be towards player 3, the inbounder, and same as this player as well, or he may be worried about player 1, one or the other. So player 5 gets open, player 1 sets that screen. Depending on what player 3 does, player 4 could be open cutting to the basket. There's some options there anyways. Once that's finished, and let's say neither of these players are open, then of course player 2 is looking to post up, player 1 is looking to get open, and then of course the backup options are those two players. This next play is another box play, but it's ran slightly different. So what we're going to have is a big man in the low post on both sides. We're going to have player 1 set that screen for player 4, or for player 2. Player 5 is going to set a screen in the high post, and at this time, player 2 is going to be running off of that screen and getting open in this corner. At this time, player 4 is going to be looking to post up, and player 3 will have two different options. He can pass to player 4 or he can pass to player 2. After this happens, player 5 will roll off that screen and cut towards the basket. This can be another option. And player 1 can get open over here so that the backup option at the perimeter is also there, depending on, of course, if these guys are all covered. Then player 1 would then be the last option. However, our number 1 option should be player 2. Backup options are 4 and 5, and player 1 is our safety. Now, against a zone, this can be ran a few different ways. However, I like to run it this way, where player 1 still sets the screen over here. Player 5 will set the screen here, because now you're getting player 2 open still over here. He can still be potentially an open shot, but the benefit against a zone is player 5 comes off the screen, cuts down the side of the key, where if player 2 is covered and player 5's attention is on player 3, this can be a wide open cut to the middle for an easy basket. We would still have player 4 posting up on this side, and player 1 would still be popping out here, because if player 2 followed player 5 and this was cut off, we have player 1 wide open for potentially a 3-point shot as well. So there's a few different options here that can work against both a man and a zone defense. If you're looking for a really good zone defense to run with your team, make sure to go check out the Unbeatable Basketball Zone Defense book down in the description below. I hope that this video has helped you. If it has, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.